Hello students. Previously we just got our hands wet, no, get used to the idea of solving inequality. So now with that behind us, now we'll move on to word problems, right? So using inequalities to actually solve word problems. So let's go, right? So here's a situation. A minibus can take a maximum of 28 primary school students to school. By setting up an inequality, find the minimal number of minibuses that is needed to take 194 students to school. So what we need to do, apply Poyer's four-step problem solving approach. So the first thing we do is we need to define the variable. So I'm going to let the number of minibuses needed be x, right? So we have that value, right? So what happened now? Okay, the minibus can take a maximum of 28 primary school students, right? So the total number of students that's being ferried will be 28 times x, right? 28 students times x number of buses. And what happened? This number needs to be greater than 194 because that's the total number of students we need, right? So greater than 194. Can it be equals? Oh yeah, right? It can be equal. That means there's no more vacancy. Sure. So it's greater or equals to 194. Okay. So that resulted in x being greater or equals to, take out a calculator, 194 divided by 28, give us 6 and 13 over 14. Now, of course, we can't have 6 and 13 over 14 buses since the number of buses is a integer, right? So therefore, minimum number of buses has to be the next integer after this, right? Is equals to 7, right? So that is actually the result. Right, next question. So for any school excursion to any place in Singapore, the school requires at least one teacher to accompany 20 students. 155 students are going for school excursion to the science center. Form an inequality in x to find the acceptable number of teachers in this excursion. So what does x here represent, right? So that's the first thing we need to sort out. So define the variable. Let x be the number of teachers, right? So what we have now, we need to have we need to have 20 students with one teacher. So 155 students is going for this excursion, which means the number of teachers, okay, is going to be x has to be greater or equals to 155 students divided by 20 students, right? So this is actually the situation. So x is going to be greater or equals to 155 divided by 20 gives us 7 3/4, right? So of course, again, the number of teachers are integers, right? You don't cut up a teacher. Okay, so the solving the inequality, this will be part 2. So part 3, we're going to state our final result. Okay, the minimum number of teachers in this case is going to be equals to 8. There we go. Okay, so that's the solution, right? Okay, so let's go. Next question. Question 3. The price of a concert ticket is $50. Find the total price of X tickets. Okay, so in this case, X is sort of defined for us. It's basically the number of tickets, right? So in part A, we just need to state the value in terms of X, right? So total price is equals to, well, it's going to be 50X, right? Now, Harry has $200 to spend on tickets. So part B, we need to form an inequality of X and solve it. So what happened? Wait a minute. Let me write down this properly. Yeah. Okay. So 50x. So let's write down properly. Now, what it means is that, okay, the amount of money he spent cannot be more than 200. So it's less than or equals to 200, which means 50x is less than or equals to 200, right? So what that result in is that x is less than or equals to 4. Okay, so we solve it. Now we need to list, because why? Number of tickets has to be integer, right? You can't get half a ticket. So the possible number of tickets you can buy. So let's see, possible number of tickets is equals to, well, he could actually buy 0 tickets, 1 ticket, 2, 3, or 4, right? So those are the possible number of tickets, right? Possible number of tickets. Oh, sorry, number of tickets. Well, the grammar is better, right? So that's how it works. Is there another question? Yes, there is. So let's take a look at the next one. The mass of a book is 0.5 kilogram. Find the total mass of X such book. So again, this one quite similar to the previous question. Total mass, okay, is equals to 0.5x, right? So we have that. Now part B, right? The mass of a power book is more than 11 kg. So part 1, that means the total mass here now, right, is going to be more than 11 kg. So that's the inequality. So let's solve this. That means x is more than 11 divided by 0.5 give us 22. 22 over here, right? So they ask us to state the minimum. So in this case, since the mass is more than 11 kg, it cannot be equal to 11 kg. So when we work it out, x is more than 22. It cannot be 22. So it will be the next integer after 22, right? So the minimum number of books is equals to 23. Right, so these are some word problems for you to try out to see if you have understood the chapter on inequalities. Right, I hope you have been successful. Have a nice day.